Hello everybody, we got an unboxing to get through and a lot of other stuff, but welcome to Bass and Bonsai. We are back in the house, not out on the water, not out the shooting range. We're down here. All items, blasters are clear. I was just going to have them open to show you guys, but there's one I just finished up doing a stipple job on, just so we know it's clear is why I'm leaving these open. But on the unboxing, I think I've got a trigger pull weight gauge, so we're going to be checking the trigger weights on these because, as you guys know, I haven't had one in the past, so I have no clue like what poundage. You know, you're going off other YouTubers, people talking about 4 pound, 3 pound, 2 pound. Like, I have no idea what they are. So we're going to get to that, but first, and we're going to compare the Echelon to our Glock builds we've got going on here, right? Shadow systems and daggers. But we've got 4 packages to unbox, so stay tuned for that. Let's just get to the first one since we know what it is. Coming all the way from Amazon. I think it was like in the Amazon forest or somewhere. There's a little place that makes these. Oh my gosh. I've really got to find that X-Acto knife. I got the maid. The maid's going to clean up everything, but I'll be honest, guys. The maid's gotten kind of lazy over the last, I don't know, 6-8 months. Weighs about 188 pounds now. We got to get the maid going. But I've got one of these since I see a lot of YouTubers using it. I figured I'd just use that. I know the digital ones may be the way to go, but I don't know how well this is going to work or not work. But we're going to get it and use it. And it did come from everything comes from Amazon. It comes from over in the Amazon rainforest. And I've never used... I tried using my fish scale to get a weight, but that don't work too good. These are probably about the same kind of thing, right? You're going to pull it. That'll stop where the pull is. The trick to these is to stop right when it breaks on any of them, even the digital ones, so it doesn't read higher than what you pulled or whatever. I know you guys watch the old Glock store. Lenny McGill's got his little dead weight thing set up. So anyway, very cheap and cheesy filling, but as long as they've sort of calibrated it with the spring and all that kind of stuff, it should do the job. Let's just check it. Before we go any further, I'm just going to check. Let's see what the Echelon. This one, I don't even know how many rounds I have through this. Some, but not a lot. Let's check it. I don't even know how to do this. I watch a lot of people do it a lot of different ways. I'm going to try to hold it where it goes down. Wow. How far are you going to go? I did rack that thing, didn't I? Let me check this. Pretty sure I did. Let's start over. First trigger pull ever. Dude. All right, no way. Like 6.5, almost 7 pounds. Is that right? I don't know. Maybe it is. Let's just go with one I feel. Let's check this one. This is probably the oldest gun. Well, for sure it is. I'm not sure how old, but it's probably the oldest, like, been fired deal going. Don't call me. Oh, Frontier Justice called. I bet you they got my other ones ready. So let's just see where this boy. Okay, so about 5.5. So yeah, maybe that. So anyway, we're going to do more. Stick around. Wait for the unboxing. We'll do more on that. And I don't know how accurate this one is. I mean, I guess I could check it by lifting up one of my 5-pound dumbbells or something and seeing if it stops at 5 pounds or whatever. It's just something to go by so I can tell if, you know, my feels like, okay, I think that one's a little heavier than the other one. I maybe be able to judge it. May not be able to tell that it's exactly 5.5, but I can tell that this one's heavier than this one, that kind of thing. It's kind of why I got it. And it wasn't that much. I think it was like 25 bucks. And I think I had or 20 bucks, and I had a $25 Amazon gift card through work. So that's kind of, I was like, okay, it's free, right? Through work, and I try not to buy anything. I'm an eBayer. Over the years, I was kind of around the time, I mean, I'm showing my age. I just turned I'm not going to tell you. But anyway, I was around before eBay. And so I've kind of been an eBayer since it started early on. So this is for our 19X slide. It is all the Gen 5 stuff. You have to have firing pin, like almost, not everything, actually almost everything. I think the barrels can be older generations, but almost everything else. Maybe the ejector, but a few things. But so we had to get one of those since I decided, it was kind of on a whim that I bought that slide in the first place. So anyway, we've got the parts to finish that, and then this. I don't know, what is this? Got my name on it? Make sure this goes to me. Yeah, it's got my name on it. Must be mine, right? I need a bigger workbench and a knife. I know what you guys are thinking, right? I'm a fisherman, not a knife swordsman. I know I have cut myself. Oh, and then I cut myself on the, actually this sliced right into me. I was sanding down the frame before I was going to stipple, and I wasn't paying attention, and ran that wheel right across my hand. And you talk about a scary moment. It didn't hurt when it actually didn't hurt till today. It was like yesterday, the day before I did it. And I bumped it today and went, oh, that hurts. But I thought for a split second I had like totally cut into myself kind of thing. You know the deal. Oh, I know what this is. So these are my 4 lights. So it should be for these guys. I painted this one. These are knockoffs coming from AliExpress. If you guys know Temu or Wish at AliExpress, you don't know AliExpress. It's basically that. It's like a big thing for Chinese stuff to order if you want. So I'm not trying to pawn these off as the true things. I've just basically got them for weight to add to mine, so I don't have to sit and switch one light all the way around. So whatever firearms I have, I'll have a cheap $20 light to go on each one without, you know, messing around. So they come just with the black, which I do not like. They just, in my opinion, and I've just, you know, you can pop the pins out and just paint them, and they just look that much better. Now, I got the colors way off when it comes to like this dude. Let's look right here. So I actually have the right color, but I painted this with the wrong color to match what I end up not even wanting anymore because it's too light. So we'll go more into that. But basically just the cheap stuff you can get wherever. Rust-Oleum camouflage. So this one is the one I'm going to, I think, go to now because it almost matches the dagger and several other. And that's the one I had. And I know you can see my practice stippling. Not a huge difference, but when it, I don't know, it just comes out when it dries. It's a lighter than really, it doesn't really match up well with anything. And you could throw some, I don't know, there's ways to darken it up. But anyway, so I'm not going to open all them. It's basically, it was like $65. It was a deal, so I bought 4 of them, is why I bought that many. And if you're curious, I don't know for sure how long they're going to last. Like I said, one of these black ones up here, I have several. I do have like 300 or 400 rounds while they were on the firearm on a couple different ones. No issues yet. So I definitely have a big sample size now. I don't know at what point in time I'll get, and they take the regular Surefire batteries is what you put in them, 2 of those. And so far the ones I have and with batteries, like there's none of them dead. Like, you know, sometimes some of this cheap stuff will just drain batteries just sitting there. I've not had any of that issue yet either, and I have not had any bad. This makes number, so I already had 3 black ones and one of the tan colored ones, and now I have 4 more. So I'm not saying I'm going to be an expert on these as far as will they last somewhat being on the, you know, end of your farm or not or whatever. But if you just want to throw a weapon light on there, or say you have a holster, I've talked about this in several other videos, that fits like the Surefire X300 instead of, you know, and you have one Xfire 300, but you'd like to have a couple more just to, so you don't have to go switching it around. Maybe you have one that bolts on these. And they come with both the things. I guess I should have showed that real quick. Let me open this one back up. They do come with both. They come rigged like that. And they come with the piece, that's like for the Glock, the universal. Then for the Picatinny rail, they come with a little bigger piece, and they also come with the way to rig it up where it's slided. But I felt that one wasn't as secure as this one. Like, I felt like that jumbled around in there without a lot of thing. And what I've done is actually take these off, and you got Roger from QVC is actually making some different, possible like thumb rest off this, doing like 3D printed stuff that he's like in the test stages on doing. But you can basically take these off and sand them down and then loosen these bolts and push them in tighter if you need a tighter fitting on your firearm. And I think you could probably do that with the real one. If you have a real one, you're like, I just wish it fit a little, because I've seen several of them, mine did, they'll fit on and they kind of, I think I've tightened these up. Like, you'll put them on, yeah, like that. I could tighten that up more if I wanted to. Like, you could even go tighter to where you put it on. Like, it's not going to go anywhere, but if you want to get rid of that wiggle, you basically sand from the bottom down, and it's basically like cinching it down tighter, or you just loosen the screws and squeeze it in after you've done that too. And you can get these where they almost barely go on and off on your specific firearm. And that's kind of why I got that many. I want to have each one rigged up to where when I put it on, it just is like tight, you know, and you want to have it tight and then push away from you, because like if you're going to activate it for any reason, it's going to be pushing away from you. So if you've got it on tight like that and you go to push, it's going to move a little. Anyway, that's enough about that stuff. That's not even the main thing I wanted to get unboxed here. One more package. This should be what we've all been waiting for, and maybe what I found out that I need to somehow fix is the fact that the Glock 26 on a 19 frame won't work. It will, maybe, but I ran into a big hiccup that I should have known about, should have thought about, but I didn't. And I'll talk about that at some point, maybe in just another video. But okay, no thread protector or nothing. So polymer 80, I don't remember 80. I don't even remember what I gave for this thing, but it was the cheapest 26 threaded, spiral fluted, gold barrel that I could come across, and so I bought it. Let's do a little kind of a test fitting. So there it is. Let's first of all see if other thread, in case I don't want to run it with a comp on it. See if it should be the same threads as, like, that's off the Shadow Systems. So you put your O-ring on, put that on. Half by 28 threads. Threads seem good, seem fine. Trying to look at the bore. Yeah, it looks good. You guys can't see it, but I can see it through the light. Seems fine. This gold, all these so far that I've had, like the Shadow Systems, the eBay ones, it ain't gonna stay on forever. It's not gonna stay looking that pretty. I think even the black DLC ones, about the only way to get one of these is to have one that's polished up and then just repolish it every so often, as far as that is stainless, not like coated. So before we go any further, what do I need to do this? I need this one. Hang on. We're going to slide off our Shadow Systems. We're going to take, so here's our Glock 26. see what that goes in. So that's going to go there. There's our Glock 26. And see, I don't know, maybe you guys come, I didn't realize they fit that loose. I thought it would have a little, I thought there'd be a little tension to hold it. There's really like not. It'll fall out. It's kind of, and I don't think it goes in the very last notch. No, they're not designed to go. That's that. There's, if you guys don't know, there's kind of like almost 3 notches on some of these, and they're basically supposed to go right in the middle. And it kind of did that with the Glock 19 barrel that I had on it. So anyway, then I should be able to take this and it'll engage in here, but I'll show you the problem. Maybe it won't. Well, it does with the, hang on a second. Maybe that slide is, hang on. Because if I take, hang on. This out. Let's just do a little experiment here. I know you guys came for an unboxing, but you're getting, I'm trying to do most of this off camera so I don't get in trouble for like teaching you guys how to put something on. Let me try this again. Okay, so the 26 slide, but here's a problem. Even if I get the other one to work, it won't come all the way back because these, where the catch is on here, the barrel at the end isn't long enough to let it come all the way back and pick up the next round. So I gotta try to get past that dilemma, but first of all, I gotta figure out why that other one, and like this will work and everything, it'll go in. So basically, if you guys pick up what I'm laying down here, when you do this, if you're trying to do what I'm doing, this conversion, these are pretty much identical except for how far it needs to come back. So it needs to come back at least like that much further. So I believe, I don't even know if you can do it. The only way to do that would be to come back further into here. And I don't know if the daggers are capable of doing that or not. I don't know if any of these are capable of doing it or not. It may be a lost cause of having one that lets it come back. So I don't have a 26 to go off of to see how that is made up. You guys could comment. You probably know more about that than I do. But anyway, I was just trying to figure out also the comp I got, and it may not even work right. Come on now. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, right? Let's just see if we can get it to go. I don't think there's anything. I haven't tried to put this on anything else. Dang, that feels awful gritty, but it goes on. Just check how far. So it'll screw all the way. So that is a good fit, but getting it in on the right slide will also be an issue. There's one that looks just like this one, but it does have the front cut different for the Glock 26, where I think this would go right on, and I should have ordered it, but I didn't. I got this big bulky one. I may have to get a whole different, either go with the slide or just get a different comp and use this on something else, because if I decided to, it would go right on Just get a threaded barrel, another threaded barrel, and it would go right on the 19X if I decide to go that way. But what I'm going to try to do is, if possible, is to mate these two together, because I like the way, I'm not going to go all the way. Because what I need to wait for this barrel for is just to see what it would look like, and so I could basically slowly start taking off material, because I like the makeup of this, how blocky it is. Goes awesome with this. The trick now would be mating up that. So basically taking off the top, trying to leave a little cutout to where it actually fills that in, and then that just stays flush with like how it's kind of going up to that. But that, and then this whole thing will actually fit on. Of course, you have to imagine that little bit of gappage there will be taken up. But as long as I do it right, that whole thing will fit on, if I can get it to figure it out, if I can figure this out. I'm only a Glocksmith, not a gunsmith. I recommend not doing any of this stuff that I'm thinking about doing, and I may stop at some point, but so that will all fit on that, if I can figure it out. That was the plan. It may be a futile attempt at it, but anyway. All right, who wants me to slap some of this stuff back together, do a quick little pull test on, let's just do, we already did this one, right? Okay, so we got that one. Let me get my barrel back in this. We need to do a test on the, these are going to be the same. And just so you know, it doesn't matter what, this spring has nothing to do with your trigger. That does, and then the internals on the bottom. That's what it's got to do with your trigger pull, feel, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go, that one's been kind of, I polished up some stuff and slapped that on it. But other than that, it's basically a stock dagger. It's got a different upper stuff. This one is, let me think about this before I quote myself. I think this is 100% PSA dagger, upper, lower, nothing polished. Other than me doing some dry firing stuff with it, it's pretty much, that's what you're going to get. I don't like the trigger. I've talked about it in other videos, but it's mainly because of how far back it is and the fact that you can just, I could imagine catching it on something. Like, there's no true safety. This isn't really a safety, even though it's supposed to be. If something were to come in and snag anywhere on this, anywhere, it pretty much it's so easy to defeat it that it's pointless, really. But you do have other safeties in there as long as you're careful, Trigger control is control, finger control is trigger control, so that's all in the finger. But just putting it in and out of stuff, like, I feel safer with one that's got the little safety in the middle. But without further ado, let's check the pull weight on stock everything compared to one that I've monkeyed with. So let me try to get this. Five and a half over 6. Oh, about 6.5 is what I'd call it. I think it was right at 6, and it kind of moves just a hair. But anyway, so call it 6.5. Now let's check this one, maybe even more. I don't know. It just feels better. See that shorter take up, little bitty pop there. I don't know if I showed you the reset on it, but short little reset. But what I like about this trigger is if I, like you got to get, like even right here, it's there. It ain't gonna, you got to get up in there and actually depress that before that trigger is gonna move. And with almost all the just triggers in general that I've seen like that it's a better system than that funky little double. That's why they kind of gone away with it from the other one. So anyway, let's check it. Let's see, about 6.5 on the other one, and then I'm gonna double check my what you call it too. But so this one's gonna go way up there too. Oh, it went more. Wow. Just over, it zero's about 7.5, but it broke about just over 7. So that thing needs some work. But it's just me, like I polished up the stuff, but for some reason, I don't know if it's something up in here. It could be the actual, because it feels very stiff. I actually switched out, I was going to switch out and put that one in it. It's one I had left over. But the firing pin spring does seem awful stiff on this one. I think that's what's giving me that extra. So I probably could pay to, as long as it's still reliable, to put a lighter one in it and go from there. But as far as feel, I like the way that one feels. It's got a more of a defined wall too. So let's just double check again our echelon. So the echelon, yeah, I guess it does feel a little stiff. Stock everything too, just a few, maybe 100 rounds to it, not a lot, not as much as I would have liked to have already had through it. So yeah, 6.5. So this echelon, stock echelon, stock dagger seem to be right about the same. So I need to work on this one. I thought it felt, but what's funny is I had, for a brief time, I do have the Glock, stay tuned for future videos. That's the Glock Performance trigger assembly. I took the shoe off because I was going to put it on the dagger, but I may just get a whole other one. But I'm going to definitely put a better one. I got a Ranger Proof coming, and I've got this chimney here that I haven't put in anything yet. I'm waiting on these 3 other lowers that actually I think it was Frontier Justice just called me when I started this video. They have them in. So we've got several trigger. I got to work on this, dude. What's funny is just when you're like dry firing and the feel, I think I like this feel better than all the others, even though it's a little stiffer. Because I mean, honestly, if it's predictable and it feels like it's even more, it doesn't have a, I don't know if you guys can see that, just when it goes, it's like a quick, there's not any like creep stuff to it. So I don't know, I may be a guy that likes a heavier trigger, just a more defined, and then I call it a quick wall, like a falls right off quick. So yeah, it's not shown, it's hard to tell, but it's I think it's before 7 it goes, but I'm pulling so hard this thing kind of jumps when it snaps, when it's up that high, much higher. So it's definitely, and I thought it may be, that confirms it is stiffer than the other ones. Of course, none of these have very many rounds. The Shadow Systems, well, for a few reasons, it's a better, what did I steal off the Shadow Systems? Nothing? Okay. Just everything on this one, feels smoother because it has a lot more, like, oh wow, it just has more everything through it. And I did add that lightning stuff on it. It definitely has this, when that kit I bought, if you guys remember, watch back in that video, I put the plunger lightened spring, which is one of these guys if you don't know what I'm talking about. So I bought that 3.5 ghost trigger thing. Came with the light and plunger spring. One of these springs that was lighter, the lightest one. I want to say it's either 4 or 4.5 pounds. I put that in it in an already broke-in system, and so it dropped it to where it's the lightest one I have. And it goes right at, oh wait a minute. So it went up to 6.2. I don't know. That's why I don't know if I like these gauges or not, but it's definitely lighter. I can tell it's the smoothest, lightest trigger that I have, for sure. So anyway, I'm going to end that video. Stay tuned. Got a lot more coming. Hopefully you like that one. 30-minute video. That's pretty good for me. If you guys have followed me from the fishing channel, feel free to go back and watch the fishing videos. Also, there's a lot of bass fishing. If you're into bonsai trees, I've got like a bunch. I have over 1,500 videos out there on YouTube, and almost none of them are related to firearms other than the last 10, 15, or 20 that I put out. So anyway, bunch of fishing and quite a few bonsai if you're just looking into just getting into bonsai. Nothing really expertise about the bonsai for sure, and not so much the fishing, just several years. I've fished longer than I've shot, longer than I've done bonsai for by far. I probably back in the day shot more than I've done bonsai, but it's been a while. I'm just now getting back into some firearms. I've had several things over the years, but anyway, these Glock builds are kind of the funnest ones as far as just or the Echelon once stuff starts becoming available. This is me basically, and I can't paint, trying to add some color to the stock ones. I've got the grip module that this one came with. I left it alone in case I decided to at some whatever time decide to part ways. I could put it back to stock, mess up all these grip modules I want for like 50 or 60 bucks. But when you go with PSA, even though you've got to go through an FFL kind of stuff, even that, the price, you can get these for like $49. You can spend like $10 to ship or whatever. And the way my FFL set up, it's another, if I buy like 3 firearms at once, it's like a set price, and I just pick up all 3. So it puts me in these, not much more money than it is to get a grip module, especially if you're going to get a P320, one of the higher end grip modules of those. It's actually cheaper, and so you could do some, kind of like me, experimenting, do your own stippling. If you goof up, just throw it away, and it's 75, 100 bucks down the drain, but part of it, right? But so far, this is my favorite. I'm starting to think I even like this setup, if I like the ports better than I do this. It's honestly, since this one I just kind of picked up this way. I did switch out the red dot. I did add the comp and the Hogue grip. A few internal parts, but it was really pretty much already done with shadow system. They make pretty awesome guns right off the bat. But this one's kind of my own deal. I threw it together, ordered the parts. Everything on it is basically added by me, other than if some of the internals came with the PSA. They do come, like already ready to go, basically. So stay tuned. I do have probably, we're going to switch out to, definitely got to find a different, and I'll talk about that real quick. We've got to find a different magazine release, because these are horrible from PSA, and I'm going to get out of here on this last note. If you don't know about the PSA ones, what I've heard a lot of people talking about, and I don't know if you can see in here, but inside, I'll try to get the lighting. Inside where that, you basically have a metal piece sticking up, and when you push it in, it bends the metal, comes back. Well, that plastic housing right where it sits, and right there's a good shot. They actually, and like if you can look in there, you can tell there's no way these could be ambidextrous, because it's only cut out for sliding one way. It won't slide this way like if you were to turn it around. But what a lot of guys are saying they've had to done is either, I think they may even, there's a place you can buy a different spring to lighten that. But other than switching out the stop, the mechanism you're using itself, you can also go in here, because when you push it, and I won't be able to get it, maybe right, no, come on, yeah, there we go. So when you push it real quick, you can see that it's catching on the plastic inside, is working like, so it's making the spring act, or the piece of metal rod, whatever it is, memory metal, feel way stronger than what it is. And you gotta be careful, you can't go too crazy, But a lot of guys are taking that piece out and actually, long, sharp X-Acto or whatever, and just barely grazing, taking out some of that material higher up in here, to where basically instead of it catching all the way up at a certain spot, it gives it just a little more to give to it. Because this, not only is it this little bitty sharp thing, like look at it compared to, there's like a Gen 4 style, like or I think the 5s are about like this, but from the Shadow systems. And it's just softer though. Like I can push that and it's got a softer push feel. This is little sharp, skinny, hard to push before it'll release. So I definitely gotta get that figured out. That's probably the worst thing about these that I've seen so far, is that release sucks compared to any other probably any other firearm I've ever used, to where you just reach up where you should be able to push it. It can be kind of tricky. So anyway, stay tuned, guys. I got to get out of here. I got to go to the gym. I got to go to Frontier Justice, and then I got to come back and try to sort this here out. I was hoping this was going to be an excellent build. That might be a cluster that I just have to, I don't know what, eat the parts other than the comp, because I only have a 26 lower. Never planned on buying one. They're way too short for my hands. Like even with that extension, they look kind of weird. But who knows? I don't know. Thanks for watching, guys. Get out, go buy some bonsai. Stay tuned. More trigger action coming at you.